what's up guys? This is the Hiboy J5 self-balancing hoverboard. I'm very excited to review this because I've never ridden a hoverboard, so I want to see how easy it is to adapt to something like this. So I'm going to unbox this thing and review it. So let's go ahead and actually I've pretty much cut most of it open. Alright, so this is what it looks like inside. So this thing is equipped with dual 350 watt motors for 700 watts of power, and you could double that for max power, so 1400 watts for max power. It has a range of 9.32 miles, 10 mile an hour top speed, only weighs 25 pounds, which is pretty light. It has 10-inch pneumatic tires, and it can do up to 15% hills, and it has a Bluetooth app. So this is the power button, and this is where you would charge the scooter. So you would basically take this, plug it in, and it will charge. And when you're done, plug that in. Now we're going to talk about the Hiboy J5 app, which you could get from the Play Store or the App Store. So this app is actually very, very useful. It's actually more of a cool thing than anything else, but it works very well. It automatically connects to the Bluetooth. It discovers the hoverboard. You just tap on it. It connects very, very quickly. There's no enter a PIN number or whatever, nothing like that. It's a very simple pairing. And let's talk about it. So starting with the limit mode. You can limit the scooter from 8 kilometers an hour all the way to 16, which is essentially 5 miles an hour all the way to 10. So when I first got this, when I was barely learning how to ride, the first time on a hoverboard period, I set it to 8. But once I got a little more comfortable with it, this thing kept beeping at me. And the reason why it was beeping is because I was actually reaching the limit of 8 kilometers, and then it would try to slow down. So then I changed it to 16 once I figured that out. So when you look at the buzzer, I'm not exactly sure what the buzzer does because I tap on it and nothing happens. Then we have the LED controls, and this is by far the coolest option. So this one, you can actually go front, you can actually go back. So this is kind of like the Tesla summon feature. That's the closest thing I can think of. It's just, I don't know, it's pretty amazing. So you can turn it if you want, you could turn it the other way. And I don't know, it's just really cool. So the point of this is if you get, if you don't want to ride it anymore, you could basically just have it self-balance, and then you could just kind of let it follow you by, tapping this or holding this, and then you're good to go. All right. So once that's done, now we're going to go into the settings. So for the tail lights, you could choose the different colors, and the backlights, which I'll show you guys in the nighttime video, and gyroscope calibration. So this calibrates it and it restarts it, and I've already done this, but I've actually set the angle as well. And let me actually just jump straight into that. Perfect test for this because there is a bit of an incline here. So if I go to the angle, I can actually change the angle. You see how I change the angle? And then I change it again, and then I super change it. So you could essentially set the angle, and you're supposed to place it on a flat surface to the point that it's not going to go back or front. So when it calibrates it, it kind of sets it at 127 or something along those lines, and then you could go ahead and change that. So for me, on a flat surface was around 170. So if I pick it up and place it like this, I was at 170, 160, 170 was a good number for me. Okay, so this is the rocker sensitivity. So this is like how sensitive it is when you're moving it. So 170 was a pretty good number for me. And you have your sport mode if you wanted to accelerate faster or slower. So I just left this on the default. And then you have location. I'm not sure what location does, because when I move these around, I'm not exactly sure what that does. The location might be where you place your feet. This is what I'm assuming. But where I was placing my feet was fine, so I just left it on the default. So that's the only thing I can think of for location. And car status, so you get your temp, battery, and your voltage. And firmware update, which this is already up to date. And that's pretty much the app for you. Alright, so this was my first time getting on any hoverboard, period. And it's funny because at first it felt a little bit weird because the hoverboard's trying to self-balance, and I'm thinking intuitively, oh, this thing's going to move. I'm thinking it's kind of like a skateboard where it's going to move, so I got to be careful. But eventually, after a few seconds, I got the hang of it. I went back and forth a couple times, and then it became much more natural.
12 seconds later. 3 days later.
And if you guys are wondering how do you turn this thing, well, you use your knees to turn. So that little plastic stem or rod, whatever that is, that comes out with up to your knees, essentially that's what you lean one way or another, and that's how you turn. So, and it's very easy to stay balanced, and to the point that I was holding the GoPro with one hand to show you guys like a closer shot of this. Once you get used to this thing, it's very easy to get to the max speeds. Now, when you get to the max speeds, I feel like the power gets cut off a bit. It does beep at you, and then I feel like it feels like the power is getting cut off a bit, slows you down a bit. So you kind of find this sweet spot. Obviously, just like anything else, the more you ride it, the easier it is going to be for you. But you kind of find this sweet spot of almost max speed where you're going 14, 15 kilometers an hour, and it keeps it at that speed. And it's very good. So I also had a chance to adjust all the settings and get more and more used to it, set the right angle, set the acceleration, set the sensitivity and stuff. And overall, it is pretty intuitive, to the point that even my kids really just jumped on it, adapted very quickly, and they also really enjoyed it too. So it's actually pretty fun to ride. Now, I don't think this is a electric scooter replacement, because some of the electric scooters can go much farther and much faster. I think this is more of a fun to ride, or if you're going to use it on shorter commutes. But this thing, one thing about this is it does turn heads, just because people are very curious, where when I'm riding my electric scooter, people are already kind of used to that, whereas this one, they're not so used to it yet. So in a nutshell, this is a fun toy that's very different, and it would be pretty useful for very short trips. It can also do the sidewalk bumps. It probably, I mean, depends on your balance level. Some people are just like crazy good at balance, so for those people, this would be cake for you. But other than that, honestly, it's pretty fun to ride. I don't know, it's just different, and it's awesome. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.